Jack the Ripper was aptly named. He literally ripped.
Ever wonder why? Why True Detective Season 1 didn't just entertain, it unsettled you? Why it felt like more than just another crime story? Well, the writers weren't inventing something new. They were showing you what's been hiding in plain sight for centuries.
The occult, ritual, murder. You can thank the advertiser for that.
Power networks, secret societies, rituals that tap into something ancient, something dark.
Oh, you assholes. You want to hear this or not?
Enter Jack the Ripper. The serial killer fits right into that same framework. Recent DNA evidence has thrust his case back into the spotlight, and with it, renewed links to secretive rituals and hidden power. This wasn't just about a lone madman.
Yeah, of course, I've always taken a lot of notes.
The murders were deliberate ritual offerings. This is a story that's been buried for too long. Let's dig deeper. First, let's give credit where it's due. True Detective nailed the unsettling tone with its brilliant overall production, acting, and writing. But the real reason it hit so hard? It's because the rituals and the killings tied to elites weren't just fiction.
This is gonna happen again. Ritual.
They're echoes of real power structures and violence that have existed throughout history. True Detective didn't create this.
This idea goes way back with him.
It borrowed from ancient truths that powerful people have kept hidden for centuries. Ritual murder by the powerful? That goes back centuries.
This kind of thing does not happen in a vacuum. I guarantee this wasn't his first. It's too specific.
In True Detective, we saw secret societies, hidden networks, and killings that weren't random. They were part of a ritualistic system. And here's where we start the investigation. Jack the Ripper is one of the most infamous examples of the same type of ritualistic killings.
It's iconic, planned, and in some ways it was impersonal. Think of the blindfold.
Let's flash back. London, 1888. Jack the Ripper stalks the streets of Whitechapel. But he wasn't only thirsting for murder. The killings were ritual mutilations. The precision, the targeted organs, like the uterus, it wasn't rage. It was something calculated. The victims, women already marginalized by society, weren't just unlucky, they were chosen. Why? What deeper meaning did their deaths serve?
Any of those types could be a good detective.
You. Yes, you, the viewer. Picture yourself as Rustin Cole. From the show, you are now the true detective. These killings weren't impulsive. They were symbolic. Ritual offerings in a dark, twisted game of power. Now let's dig deeper. Recent DNA evidence links a man named Aaron Kosminski to the crimes. But here's where the sinister connections fall into place. Kosminski wasn't just any random suspect. His brother was connected to a Freemason lodge, the Israel Lodge. And we know Freemasonry isn't just an old boys club. It's an ancient order built on power, secrecy, and rituals. In Freemason lore, betrayal carries a heavy price. Ritualistic mutilation. One of their most sacred legends tells the story of Hiram Abiff, the master builder of Solomon's temple, who was slain through symbolic mutilation. Sound familiar? The brutal precision seen in Whitechapel mirrors these ancient rites. So what if these murders weren't random acts of madness, but ritual reenactments steeped in long-standing beliefs? Jack the Ripper didn't just kill randomly. He removed specific organs, like the uterus, the very source of life. And in dark occult traditions, the feminine, the ability to create life, is a powerful symbol. But in certain twisted rituals, it's also a target for destruction. Mutilating these women wasn't just violence, it was a symbolic act, a way to pervert creation, to assert power over life itself.
And start asking the right fucking questions.
These murders were ritual offerings. They weren't personal. These women represented something much larger.
Meaning is historical.
They were symbols in a twisted reenactment of ancient punishments, hidden in plain sight. As detectives, let's take a step back. Just like in True Detective, where the murders were tied to an elite network, the Ripper case hints at something much bigger. Kosminski wasn't just never arrested or tried, he was quietly committed to an asylum. He was protected, along with his secrets. His brother's connections to Freemasonry might have ensured that he evaded capture for as long as possible. Maybe the elites weren't just covering up the crimes, they were enabling and participating in them. Why wasn't Aaron Kosminski ever brought to trial? At first glance, it seems like a matter of insufficient evidence or fear of unrest in the streets. But let's take a closer look. London, 1888, wasn't a time of transparency. When powerful people were involved, covering things up was far easier than it is today.
Yeah, most of the time I was convinced that I'd lost it.
And let's be honest, it seems pretty easy today too.
But there were other times I thought I was mainlining the secret truth of the universe.
Even back at the time of the crime, investigators like Assistant Commissioner Robert Anderson believed Kosminski was the Ripper, but somehow his case never made it to trial. Was it really just a lack of witnesses willing to testify? Or was something more calculated going on?
Didn't start asking the right fucking questions.
Kosminski wasn't just a suspect with an ordinary background. His family had ties to a network of influence that extended into the corridors of real power in Victorian society. If Kosminski had been exposed, it's possible that what lay beneath the surface, connections to secretive circles and rituals, would have been dragged into the light.
I found one. I think another girl earlier.
This wasn't the system falling short. It was doing exactly what it was designed to do,
Meaning is historical.
keeping the truth hidden. In those days, someone could be quietly locked away in an asylum, out of sight and out of mind, without the public ever knowing how much manipulation had gone on behind the scenes. Those in control could rest easy, knowing their secrets would stay buried along with the victims. So, was Kosminski quietly put away to protect the public? Or was it to protect the system and the powerful figures it served?
Like a lot of dreams. There's a monster at the end of it.
This is where the parallels with True Detective get hard to ignore. In the show, the killings weren't just the work of a lone madman. They were part of a hidden system of influence, power, and twisted beliefs. The Ripper murders could very well be the same. They weren't just random killings. They were ritualistic messages meant to be seen by some, heard by all, and understood by few.
He said that there's this place down south where all these rich men go to devil worship. He said they sacrifice kids and whatnot, women and children all got murdered there, and something about some place called Carcosa and the Yellow King. He said there's all these like old stones out in the woods. People go to like worship. He said there's just so much good killing down there. Reggie got this brand on his back, like in a spiral. He says that's their sign.
Hollywood has a strange way of revealing truths through fiction. Think about characters like Gus Fring in Breaking Bad. On the surface, he's a businessman, but beneath that, he's running a dark, powerful operation. Or True Detective, where violence isn't random, it's part of a larger plan.
I can see your soul at the edges of your eyes. It's corrosive.
Maybe Hollywood is showing us more than we realize. Hidden truths, coded messages, powerful networks operating behind the scenes. Some people see it and think, oh my God. Others look closer and think, I recognize that. And that's where the real power lies, when the few understand what most will never see.
You'll do this again. Time is a flat circle.
Let's talk about the why. Sure, DNA links Kosminski to the crimes, but it doesn't explain why the killings happened this way.
Yeah, of course, I've always taken a lot of notes.
That's where Freemasonry comes back into play. These weren't personal acts of violence. These were ritualistic acts, offering symbols of betrayal, power, and control.
Y'all never caught the man that did that. He's been out there, killing.
The victims weren't just people, to the perpetrators. Yes, that's plural. These people were symbols in a much darker game.
There's big people who know about him.
Which brings us to the infamous Jew Wes graffiti. At one of the Ripper crime scenes, investigators found a cryptic message, and it read, "The Jew Wes are the men who will not be blamed for nothing." Jew Wes is spelled J-U-W-E-S. Initially, this was seen as an anti-Semitic slur, further inflaming tensions in London, but let's not jump to conclusions. While the Jewish community held and still holds significant influence, this explanation doesn't quite add up. There's something deeper here. Let's examine the message more closely. In Freemason lore, the Jew-Wes refer to the three assassins we've already mentioned, the ones who killed Hiram Abiff, the master builder of Solomon's temple, in a ritualistic act of betrayal. Now, are you starting to connect the dots, Detective? This wasn't just graffiti. It was a cryptic signal.
Then I am on the fucking something.
A message from someone familiar with these secret traditions, meant to warn or communicate with those who understood the deeper significance of the killings, a clue for those with the eyes to see it. Just like in True Detective, the Ripper may not have been acting alone. What if he was fulfilling a twisted oath, an ancient belief system, protected by powerful forces? The Freemasons, with their secrecy and influence, make this theory hard to dismiss.
I had my time where I wondered if this was all in my head. The time passed.
Maybe Jack the Ripper was never caught because he wasn't meant to be. The system wasn't broken. It was working perfectly. When the powerful are involved, things don't fall through the cracks. They get buried.
You know Kakasa?
So, was Jack the Ripper part of a hidden network? A web of power we still haven't fully uncovered?
My family's been here a long, long time.
It's possible, maybe even likely. It's up to us to take the facts at hand and use our discernment. The elite are the elite for a reason. Their secrets are not easily unveiled. Want the truth? The most terrifying realities are the ones hiding in plain sight.
Why are you showing me this?
What we dismiss as fiction, it's often a reflection of the real horrors beneath the surface. And if you're just tuning in, we're just beginning to scratch the surface. Like the video, share it, subscribe to my channel. But more importantly, let's keep digging, because the truth is out there, waiting to be uncovered. Let's fracture the surface and reveal the light.